4 tour through the Salt Lake City Olympics as the French judge, Marie-Reine Le Gounet, revealed that she's been pressured to vote for the Russians in the pair skating event. The IOC, International Olympic Committee, then launched an investigation with the FBI, and they quickly uncovered Russian involvement with an alleged organized crime figure. After the series of events that happened in the Winter Olympics, the scandal quickly rocketed up to become one of the most influential and predominant causes for the changes in figure skating. The 2002 pair skating scandal was a turning point in history because it changes the way the scoring system worked. And for the first time in Olympic history, the medal ceremony was repeated and both teams involved were awarded gold. The 2002 Winter Olympics occurred in Salt Lake City, Utah. The year prior to the event, 2 civil leaders of the Olympic Committee were accused of bribery and lavishing in gifts in return for the right to host the Olympics in Salt Lake City. This resulted in several IOC members' expulsion. Tom Welch and David Johnson, heads of SIOC, resigned, followed by many others after a federal judge acquitted the duo. The short program was scheduled to be before the free skate. The Russian team, Berezhnaya and Silkoroditse, went to perform before the Canadians, earning themselves a high presentation score and a slightly lower technical score. The Canadian team's score was like the Russians. However, their technical score wasn't high enough to beat them, so they were second after the short program. In the free skate, the Russian team skated an unclean program, but regardless, they placed first. Lastly, Jamie Salé and David Pelletier went on the ice and skated the best we could have done, as said in a later interview by Salé. Their technical merit had 6 5.8s and 3 5.9s. Their presentation scores, the most important, were 5.8 and 5.9, a 5-to-4 ratio. The French judge was a tiebreaker, and the Russians won. Many news station commenters like NBC Sports' Tom Hammond, Scott Hamilton, and Sandra Bezic, as well as many CBC Sports reporters, applauded the Canadian duo and believed that they won gold. Right after the scores were announced, the cheering crowd turned into boos. Thousands of stadium-filled fans expressed their outrage at the final placements. Later, word came around saying that the French judge had confessed to Sally Ann Stapleford, the chairwoman of the ISU Technical Committee, about the fixed pair skating results. Marie-Reine Le Gounet states that the head of the French Federation pressured her to vote for the Russians no matter the performance because of an alleged vote trade within ice dancing. This meant that the Russians would vote in favor for the French and vice versa. Sally contacted the ISU and the Olympic Committee launched an internal investigation with the FBI. Le Gounet repeated these statements in the post-event review meeting with the other skating officials. However, in the following week, she issued a number of retractions saying that she felt the Russians truly should have won. The internal investigation later uncovered an alleged Russian mobster who was charged for conspiring to fix their Winter Olympic ice dancing and pair skating results. Alimjan Tokhtahunov, the mafia kingpin in question, was then arrested and fined for the attempt. Eventually, Le Gounet and the head of the French Federation were put on trial and they were both suspended for 3 years, as well as prohibited from the 2006 Winter Olympics. Under a decision from the IOC, the Canadians were given a gold medal as long as the Russians got to keep theirs. While many were supportive of both teams, some blamed the Russians for the scandal. In an interview, when asked about their take on the situation, the pair skaters stated that the controversy has been stressful and both had faced hostile media who supported the Canadian team. The Russian states that their gold medal and accomplishments in the Olympics shined less than before. Anton Silkoroditse's father said that the idea of 2 gold medals were quote-unquote ridiculous, as the Russians and Canadians have competed against each other before and this has never happened. Jamie Salé of the Canadians said that the scandal was not any of their faults and told the reporters that both teams were completely innocent in the event. From its inception in 1905 up until 2004, figure skating used the 6.0 system. The 6.0 system is a scoring system based on the majority. There would be an odd number of judges on the panel, usually a maximum of 9, and a referee. The winner of the event would be the one placed highest by a majority of these judges. After the duration of the short and free skate program, the competing skater would be then given a score by each judge between 0 and 6 points in the technical merit and the presentation. The technical merit is based on the required elements quality, difficulty, and execution, like jumps, spins, and step sequences, as well as overall cleanliness of the program. In comparison, the presentation portion of the scores relied on the artistry, coherent musicality that matches the music, and the overall composition of the program. Then the scores would be averaged out to make a final placement. The free skate carried a bigger chunk of the overall placements because the programs was longer, requiring more stamina and holding a broader amount of requirements. The problem with the 6.0 system was that it was hard to understand as a skater, difficult to interpret as a coach, and terrible to reflect on as a judge. Gail Tanger, one of the people who worked on creating the new system, helped fix some of the problems the 6.0 system was creating. There were many different effects of the rule change in figure skating. It instead used the judges to apply a score in real time as the skater is performing, rather than having to remember what the program was like. It also gave the different elements their own unique scores, and based on how well the skater does it, they earn points. In an interview, Jamie stated what she liked about the system was that, quote, "The difficulty that goes into your elements is actually quantified. You're rewarded for it," unquote. She says that the change in the system has challenged figure skaters to push the boundaries on the sport's technical element. However, she also stated that while it benefited figure skating as a whole, the emphasis on the accumulating points has seen a decline in the artistry and creative storytelling. It has also led the IJS, International Judging System, to be occasionally called the Code of Points, a reference to the shift from performance to technical value. This was a major change in figure skating, as it will help skaters to understand their weaknesses better, as well as provide an accurate placement of the competitors. Without this event, this would have never happened, and many other corruption-based scandals would have occurred. The 2002 pair skating scandal was one of the most significant out of all the other incidents, because it was the most predominant cause in the changing of the scoring system. This allowed for new rules, new loopholes, and new scandals that happened under its veil. The scoring system's change was revolutionary to figure skating's development and future. This was to make the scoring system more objective and less prone to unfairness. Although it didn't work out that well, it kept some of the corruption out. The International Judging System, IJS, is based on cumulative points with element values and grades of execution, GOE. Johnny Weir explained that the new 2004 system greatly benefited his unique style of skating. He mainly focuses on artistic aspects of skating with a mix of athleticism, and the new system was perfect for both. Besides the 2002 pair skating scandal, there are many other incidents that some deem more important or noteworthy to the development of the sport. Scandals like the Harding-Kiergan scandal, which was a hugely controversial topic even until now. The modesty and Ekaterina rule changed the dress code for women's costumes. Sure, they might have impacted figure skating, but none compared to the lasting mark of the pair skating scandal. The other incidents only resulted in minor rule changes, unlike when the pair skating event had been the reason for revamping and led to the creation of a new judging system. The 2002 pair skating scandal was a turning point in history because of the new system in response to the scandal. Without it, there wouldn't have been a push for a change in the sport, and there wouldn't have been much focus on the skaters rather than the judges when the placements were made. A step in the athletic and artistic fields were made when the new system benefited people like Johnny Weir, Yuna Kim, and Yuzuru Hanyu, who inspired millions of people by skating their passions, all made possible by the 2002 pair skating scandal and a push for justice.
Throw triple loop.